Yo guys, what's going on? Right here. So this is just a video of me going over a rumble build that I have been told about by original Omni, or Omni, as some of you may know him. So I'm just going to be going over what we need and how we actually build this. So what we need, we're going to be using the drones. So this is what we have on the drones. Defense rate, anti-melee, jack of all stats, one of the most basic relics now, as jack of all stats have come out. Then we've got crit damage on the godly stat. And we're going to be running mass, power transfer, and destruction for the most damage. This is to kill all the mobs. But the actual part that we need is the flat cannons. So these are my basic flat cannons for onslaught. So this is how I've got them set up. With this build, it's very diverse. You can swap out certain things, but the main part that we are using for Rumble is, I had my EV out, these flat cannons. So we would have our flat cannons here, then we'd have our booster and the thing, and then you can pretty much do anything, as most how we are able to do the rumble is because of these flat cannons. We're just continuously pushing them back and back and back. So the flat cannons are very important. So we've decided to go, you know what things can we use? Let's use the drones. Let's see how they work, and they work tremendously well. So you can change things, you can add things to make this your own little build, a variation of it. Then on the flat cannons, you can have the destruction, like I have here, or you can pick this out and put the water element on it. And then, now these flat cannons will be auto stunning them. Then, to take this even further, what we do is we pop a little bioscanner down and we're good to go. This is an extra more damage and they get slowed, so that's even better. But this is majority of the setup. This is how it works. This is our glue. We're combining it together. Then obviously you'd have your drones here. We're gonna place one. And they just work so well. But here's the thing though, you need to be actively playing on the Cyborg. And here's the reason why. So we're going to be using the number 3 ability. So we take the drones from doing these little laser shots to be shooting out these rockets. And there's a big difference here. So you need to be playing on a Cyborg. You can either do it 1 player or 2, or you can have 2 cyborgs in your deck and swap between them. So we're gonna need only one thing in the Ascension, which is the overdrive damage. 20% extra damage from when we proc this ability for the drones. So they, do a decent amount of damage, then you proc this. I don't think it updates on the tooltip, but they obviously do 20% more. Yeah, with all our buffs over there, it's gonna cook. So here's what I'm running on my Cyborg. So we've got Inspiration for less cooldown, so I want to be keeping that up as much as possible. Then we've got Hasten to shoot a bit faster. Then we've got Crit Chance on our gloves. And we've got Super Conductor to reduce the cost, which isn't really a big major part, but every little helps. Got some speed upgrades for building. Then we've got Extended Charge. So this increases the drone overdrive by 5 seconds. That's pretty huge. And then we have Serpent's God Fury. So that's all the shards we can use at the moment, but there is a bug fix that should be coming out somewhere. So we should then be able to use... Where is it? The 2 other ones. Struck by inspiration. Do I not have it? Yeah, struck by inspiration here, so that should be another one. And there is another one. I do have them somewhere, but there's 2 shards that you cannot currently put on him. That has been fixed, and we're just waiting for an update to be able to put that on. So, like, we can pop the ability here. Don't know if this will have it. No. But, and then we can continue shooting, so our cooldown is 8, and then it's going all the way down, and we can use it again. And we also have the timer for less cooldown. So that's all the shards you need at the moment. Obviously, when those 2 other shards are able to be placed on his weapon, I think, then that's what will go on extra, and your cooldown will be even less when you're actively playing him, shooting the mobs. So yeah, that's all the shards and stuff you need. So our booster is a basic one. I don't have the power servo because I haven't bothered to change it because I felt there's no need really. We've got diverse power, checkable stats, diverse crit damage, and we've got some range because we need a little bit of range to cover all the entire build. Then mass, death, and vamp. Then buff beam is like the same, checkable stats, diverse, and diverse power. We have crit damage, boosted beam, destruction, and diffusion for range on the drones. There is a few different builds we can have. I have got an Omni's build, so I can show you that on screen at some point. So yeah, there's a few little builds and variations you can do. Like on some of the builds, like, you know, you might add like a poison proton beam or something. Or you could add like the snaking sands from the Mystic, because as that does earth damage, you can then get your petrify combo. There's so many like ways that you can do this. The core fundamental of this build though is the flat cannons. So you'll want to get those, and then everything else can fall into place. So yeah, this is the majority of the build. It's pretty easy. Let me know what you guys do. Put it in the comments or DM me on Discord. Send me a picture and tell me what you think about it. So how to build this. So we're going to take our drone and we're going to go over to the right, and then whenever you can place it, we're going to place it. We're going to swap over to our Eevee, so then we're going to place our buff beam in. Important that you line this up, otherwise it won't work. So we're going to try to place that as line we can, and as you can see, we ain't hit any of the drones, which is not good. But we're going to want to try and hit both of the drones. Sometimes you might hit one, or in my case, you hit nothing. And it can be a little bit tedious. As you can see, we are not doing anything. We're going to try again. Go from this place. Go there. Pop it to our Eevee. Place that there. But we don't want to try and, as I said, get it in between both. And then that way we can get both. So as you can see, we've only got one there. So let's see if I can try and place this one better. No, you can see we've only got one. That's 181. You can tell by the blue little bubble things. So we're just going to try to replace our buff beam. This does take a few attempts to get, to try and place. Because you need to place the buff beam in a straight line, which is pretty difficult. But once you get used to it, it's pretty easy. Yeah, we're only hitting that one though. After many attempts, I'm gonna cut out. So we finally have both of them being buffed, which for some reason was taking me a bit of a while, but it can be a bit tedious. So then we're gonna switch over to our mark after making sure both of them are buffed, and then we're gonna place our LSA right here. And then we're gonna switch back over, and then we're gonna place drone 1 and drone 2. And our drone 2 over here is not being buffed, so we're just gonna replace him. As you can see, all of these are now getting buffed. I'm gonna switch back over to our mic, and then depending on what boost score you have, you can carry it. But since we're having the pylon, it's gonna get it anyway. And then we're gonna switch over to our countress, and we're gonna place the flat cannons, and that is pretty much the build done. Then if you wanted, what I usually do is look at the flat cannon range and see, okay, I can kind of place them here, and I place the protons. Or what you can do is look at the range of the drones, and you can see they're about the same. So I usually do the flat cannons. So you can, do this. We have tried this before, and it obviously did work. On my protons, they're nothing special, just poison, automation, and frosty beams, just for more CC. So this is how you build it. So yeah, now I'm gonna show you some of the actual in-game stuff we have of this build working. So we have two builds. We have my one and we have Omni's build, and they're a little bit different, but they both work the same. So enjoy.